Issues, concerns of the city of Quincy, of course, coming up November the 5th this year is a municipal election, and a candidate for the city council seat in Ward 1, Joe Murphy, has stopped on by to say hello again.
Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Good to see you again, Joe.
Good to see you.
You made it through the preliminary. Here you are.
Yeah. So it's been really exciting. I'm really excited by how much momentum we seem to have picked up from the preliminary. I think people are tuning in more to the election now, and I have a lot more sign locations popping up almost every day. Somebody reaches out asking, can they have a sign? Can they get involved? So it's really getting exciting for me. It's night and day from my 2017 campaign.
Right, yeah. I know you mentioned you had some health issues earlier this year, and you felt like you were kind of behind the eight ball, but you think you've really caught up now?
Yeah. One good thing about that is I think I hit the ground after the preliminary rested, because I had some time down in the summer. So I kind of like I'm hitting a new gear now, which is great.
Yeah. Okay, good. What do you kind of attribute the increased attention to the race to? Anything in particular, do you think?
Well, I think first of all the preliminary kind of woke people up.
Yeah.
And I actually I wanted to bring this up to you because I was a little disturbed by some of the talk after the preliminary on QATV. I was watching the coverage that night after I left. And there was some talk about like whether or not the preliminary is worth the money the city invests. And I was highly disturbed by that conversation because I think the money we spent on a preliminary election is one of the most efficient things the city can do. For $85,000, which was brought up several times, that's 0.02% of the city's budget. I mean, it's not even, I don't mean 2%, I mean 0.02. It's a fraction, a very small fraction of what the city spends. But with that, the citizens get to speak. And if we take, I printed this out because I wanted to get it right. Just take the mayor race. And listen, nobody's more disappointed that this race isn't more compelling than I. I really, I always want to see democracy in action here. But Brenda Ryan and Tracy Dorgan managed to get like 35% of the vote between them. No one knows who they are. No one saw them campaigning. Tracy did a little bit.
She did, yeah.
I think Brenda's running a very unique style of campaign of not campaigning.
Yeah.
But they still got 35% of the vote.
Yeah.
That means over 1/3 of the people that voted were sending a message that they're not convinced that we're on the right track. So for that cost, they got to say so. And so for me, that was well worth the money. Because you imagine if one of these people were a Noel DeBona, an Ann Mahoney, or a Nina Liang, one of those people that's known across the city, I think it would have been closer to 50-50, So I think the citizens are speaking, and I'm happy that we had a preliminary election.
Okay.
And but on a personal level, I'm happy we had a preliminary election because suddenly people were like, oh, there was an election. I should look at what's going on.
Yep.
And there was a huge spike in people emailing me, wanting to know what I'm about. So when I'm outdoor knocking, the worst thing I hear when I'm outdoor knocking is when I knock on a door and someone seems unfamiliar with me. Because this is my second campaign.
Right.
I have a healthy amount of signs throughout the ward. And there's still people that when I knock on their door, they're like, oh, Joe Murphy, I don't know. Tell me about you.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of you. And I want to say, well, your next door neighbor has a sign, but still, that's fine. The good news for me when I get that door knock, which happens now and then, is it means I haven't peaked. It means there are still voters out there I can win.
Okay.
Because there's people that are still like going into the ballot going, I don't know who this person is, but I know who this guy is.
Right.
When they go in there now, they see Joe Murphy, they're like, oh yeah, I remember, I talked to this guy, or I saw his signs, or I saw his videos, and so I can still pick up votes. The bad news is it's still disturbing to me that there's people I haven't reached because I do a lot of campaigning online. It's very easy for those of us who use Facebook well to get into a bubble and think everybody's there with us.
Not everybody's on Facebook.
Not everybody's on Facebook or social media.
Right.
But it's easy to feel that way after a while because there's so much interaction and it just feels like everybody is.
Yeah.
Then you find out there's a huge segment of the population that don't want any part of it.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
So it's a reminder I have to use all the means available to me,
So you're learning too along the way.
I'm learning, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's good. I mean, but anyway, the preliminary election, I just wanted to offer a counterpoint. I thought it was money well spent for the city, and I think we should be doing more to get people involved in running, and not raise the bar. Okay, because I don't think raising the bar helps us. If you're upset that we don't have better candidates running, don't make it harder for people to run. Make it easier. And if you're upset with the turnout, the city, I think, should be sending mailers out 2 weeks before every election. Just a postcard reminding people. Because one thing I've learned is it's hard to get everybody's attention.
Yes.
Signs, putting out little sandwich boards near the precincts is one thing. You'll get some people, but I'm learning signs aren't enough. So
yeah. Well, I did speak with the city clerk after the preliminary, and she did say that there was a spike in voter registrations because of the fact that people said, "Oh, there's an election coming up."
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a positive, and there's still time. Actually, I think October 16th is the deadline to register to vote.
I've been telling people the 15th just to give them a buffer.
just in case.
And it sounds like it should be the 15th. It's right in the middle of the month. But.
Yeah, it is the 16th. And then absentee ballots can be cast actually until November 4th at noon the day before, right at the city clerk's office too. So there's still time for sure.
Yeah. I just got someone, I sent them the application via email last night. I door knocked. They said, I'm going to be in D.C. during the election. And so I just said, give me your email. And so,
okay. So you're doing this grassroots again, Joe? Is this?
I am doing it grassroots. I mean, I have to.
Yeah.
And it's the way to go.
Yeah.
I am, my war chest, if you can even call it that, is, there's a disparity, I think, of 400 to 1.
Okay.
For every dollar I have, my opponent has 400.
Okay.
Most of it from developer-raised funds. I don't take any developer funds. So my only choice is door-to-door, creative ways of meeting people. But I'm okay, though, because I don't say this glibly. Ideas and concern for your neighbors, matters. And I think when people compare the two campaigns, they'll see there's ideas at my campaign.
Okay, all right. So did your platform change at all after the preliminary, or is it no?
Okay. I was, one thing I got right, I think we talked about during our last discussion, is that my platform was way too big in 2017, and I really needed to focus.
Yep.
And I think I did well there.
Okay.
Infrastructure, communication, those types of things seem to really speak to the people through the wards. They're not looking for the big problems to all their lives, but what they're looking for is to be able to stay on the sidewalk and not walk in the street.
Yep.
Environmental is always going to be a part of whatever platform I run.
Okay.
I'm not an expert on the environment like someone from, let's say, Greenpeace or Sierra Club, but I do understand. I know the experts know what they're talking about. I can tell because I work at MIT. I'm listening to scientific, smart people all day.
Yeah.
So I can hear when people have the facts.
Okay.
And so it's time for us as the citizen of the state, of the world, of the country to lead a little more in Quincy.
And it probably has a bigger impact in Ward 1, being a mostly coastal section of the city. Yeah.
It's a little bit easier sell.
Yeah.
Because, anything we do in Quincy is not going to stop the water from pouring over the seawall.
Right.
But the people in Ward 1 have seen firsthand what, decades of ignoring a problem can do.
Right.
So when I talk to them about the environment, they're very receptive.
Sure.
And so we need a combination of short-term solutions like seawalls and long-term solutions, and we need to lead. We're one of the larger cities in the state. So when we do something, other cities notice. I don't want to be a follower in this area. I want to be a leader. So I want to start getting electric vehicles into our fleet. I often say I think it would be a huge statement. I said this last time.
Yep.
If the mayor were to use an electric vehicle instead of a larger SUV or truck, I'm not sure what he's driving right now. But that's just one thing. But green municipal aggregation can save our citizens money in their electric bill and help green the grid, so to speak. So it's a win-win. When you can have a win-win, that's my favorite solution. Because if you can save people money in their pocketbook and do something good for the earth, why aren't we doing it already? You know, and it begs the question. And then, like I said several times, a green zoning task force. We talked about this the night. GHG gases coming from inefficient building is one of the largest contributors. So not only can we help the environment by modernizing and greening our zoning ordinances, we can also save people money on housing, because these houses are going to be heated and cooled more efficiently, and that can help the cost of the housing problem. Right now, there's a lot of things going on. It's hard to live. It's hard to pay rent. So saving people, you can approach it a different way. If you can save people money on utilities, that's another way to let them, get through their monthly, budget.
Okay. Since you were here last, the mayor's proposed creating a new special education learning center by purchasing a new property from Eastern Nazarene College over on Old Colony Avenue.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would support if you were on the council?
I need to know a lot more about that.
Okay.
First of all, I would support in concept.
Okay.
Autism and special needs have touched my family. So it's something that I take very personally.
Okay.
It's definitely not something that I would entertain as a political tool.
Okay.
So I find it a yellow flag went up, because I'm thinking, wow, it's an election year. We're a month out from an election. And this project that I didn't know anything about, several school committee people I talked to knew nothing about. Several city councilors I talked to knew nothing about. Suddenly this project exists, and there's a press conference, with the T running beside it the whole time. I was like, whoa, that sounds good, but is this a half-baked theatrical performance we're seeing, or is this a real initiative that had some thought behind it and some real ideas behind it? Because this is not something to take lightly. These kids that we can possibly help, it could be huge for families to not have to take their kids out of the city to get educated.
Sure.
I have a family, a youngster in my family who probably would, he doesn't live in the state, but he would probably benefit from a facility like this. So I don't take it lightly.
Okay.
I support anything we can do to improve. But if I, for a minute, suspect this is theater, I'm going to have a lot of thoughts about it.
Okay. All right. As a parent, it's something you're keeping an eye on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Another, kind of, I guess, big ticket item is the new public safety complex.